Hi, I'm Cheryl Belson with American Sewing Guild. And November 16th is National Button Day. So today, we're going to celebrate buttons. National Button Day is a day for honoring the function of buttons and the hobby of button collecting. Now, many of us who sew collect buttons. Sometimes we store them in jars or tins. Sometimes we put them out on display just for the mere joy of seeing that collection. And sometimes they're just sitting in our stash, waiting for the right garment to call out to it for use. A few years ago, while I was traveling in India, I stumbled across a small little button shop with some incredible buttons in it. I was mesmerized, and I think I probably spent over an hour just rummaging through all the unique buttons in that shop. And of course, I had to bring some home with me. They were just too beautiful to leave them all there. Well, shortly after I got home, our ASG chapter here in Plano had a button challenge. And the challenge was to design a three-piece ensemble around a button of your choice. So I chose this button. The most challenging part of using that button was figuring out how to attach it to the vest I was making. I needed it to be easily removed because I was going to need to dry clean that vest. I initially thought that I would just use a button pin, but the shape on the back of this button was so unique that there was no pin I could find that would work. And ultimately, after a lot of unsuccessful ideas, I finally discovered that I could glue the button onto a tie tack finding and then just simply close the vest with a tie tack. This is the ensemble that I ultimately entered in the challenge. I've worn this ensemble so many times, and the method of attaching the button that I used has continued to serve me well. But let's get back to National Button Day, because that's where we started. And I thought, what better way to celebrate the day and explore the topic of buttons than having a chat with Jerry of Benno's Buttons. So join me now as we take a peek into the world of buttons through the eyes of Jerry Dawson and his button shop. I'm here today with Jerry Dawson, who is the owner of Benno's Buttons. Benno's is located in Dallas, Texas, and serves the sewing community locally, but it is also a respected nationwide supplier of buttons. In addition to his extensive button stock, Jerry also carries a wide variety of ribbons and other trimmings, but today we're going to focus on buttons because we're focusing on National Button Day. And of course, of great interest to all of us that are in American Sewing Guild, Jerry is a great supporter of American Sewing Guild. He offers members a 15% discount with a code that, if you haven't found it yet, take a look in the members only section under special offers, and you'll find the code that you can use both in the store or online. So Jerry, I'm thrilled that you were able to make time to chat with me today. I'm really looking forward to hearing about your history in the button business, and I am especially excited to hear about some of those more unique buttons that you offer to us in the sewing community. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for so much inviting me. Benno's has been around for a long time. It really started back in the 60s and 70s. The original owners was Holocaust survivors. They started, right. And then it has changed owners about maybe twice since then. But Benno's was originally, my company what I did originally was supplying the manufacturers, the dress manufacturers, and all over the United States, pretty much. Like JCPenney's was doing all the manufacturing. And since I'm from Dallas, JCPenney's was very major because that's where the headquarters of JCPenney. So we supply most of the production for manufacturing blouses, dresses in Dallas and all over the United States. So that at that time, Benno's they were trying to sell Benno's. The lady wanted to retire. So we purchased Benno's and made it part of our retail line. So we, to sell to other retail stores, and also supply the retail industry. So we went into wholesale plus retail, and that was our first step when we acquired Benno's.
Oh,
But that's when I really appreciated buttons also too, because we did not work with the public before then, and now we know how important buttons are to the public, because it's people have a relationship with their dress or blouse, or I didn't realize how personal and people are attached to their clothes until we got into retail. We thought buttons were just a button, but not. It's people take their clothes and how they feel with what they wear very seriously.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Well, and a button can be the thing that takes a garment from okay to fabulous. So it plays a very pivotal role in some things that, I mean, sometimes it's just it just closes the shirt, but sometimes it's all about the button.
right. And like I said, when you work with the public, and a lot of the public are not happy with some of the things they buy from this, when they buy their dress or jacket from the store. It's something about the button that they think they were shortchanged. It got less quality. They pay a lot, even though they pay a lot of money for things. But the designer that actually selected the button was maybe not on their main, as in quality that they wanted to pick out. So the customers leaves the store, loved the jacket, hated the button. So we have a lot of customers coming in. They bought the jacket with the tag on it. We'll bring it directly to the store and change out the button to make it feel like it's part of them. They can pick out a better quality button, but the button changes everything. It makes the jacket look more expensive. It looks like it was very thought out. But it's amazing. We have a lot of people come in and they would change the button, and they come in for the first time, and so they select this unique button, and they go after they leave the store. They go to a church or go to some type of function, and people commented about what they have on, and they have never. That person never got a comment about their clothes like this before. I love your buttons you have on there, and then that person is hooked.
Yeah.
And so they they're bringing jackets into the store, having things changed out, because they like the comments that they're getting from people that never said anything about what they were wearing before.
Yeah. Well, I know I personally have been in your store many times since I live in the area, and
Right.
I've always been so impressed by the huge selection that you carry. As a matter of fact, it might be interesting to people watching this if you could do just a quick little swoop
Okay.
around to show how.
Okay. Let's show you a little bit of what we have in the store. Okay. So this is our button collection in the store, from rhinestone buttons to men's suit buttons, metal buttons for jackets, real horn buttons. And we just have tons and tons of buttons. Also, at the end, we would have natural material buttons. And then we'll go on just quick around the store, from ribbon, very, very special ribbon, to hard to find ribbon, actually, that you can use for sewing, and a lot of unique things. This is just a little quick look of the store.
Yeah. Well, I know I've found many, many buttons there myself, both buttons that just fit the functional category.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the buttons on this blouse that I'm wearing came from your store, and these are your basic, functional buttons. They're not like some special design that's interesting or unique, but you need both kinds. And I'm wondering if you could maybe tell us about a few of your more interesting, more unique button types.
My favorites are really nice, unusual things like bone, horn, glass, coconut buttons to wood buttons. Natural materials is what I really prefer. And you just don't get this when you buy something out of the store. came. I'm tell you a little story. A guy came in the store and he wanted horn buttons for his suit. So I asked him, said, "Do you want real horn or imitation horn?" He says, "Of course, real horn." So I don't know. That was because that was probably only when I said that he probably automatically went to real horn. And I said, these days they make horn buttons that you can't tell. Imitation horn buttons, you can't tell the difference if it's real or not. He says, "Yes, but I would know." So it was not about anyone else would know the difference. He would know, so he felt better. He knew that he had horn buttons on, and to me, I was thinking about this $1,000 suit this guy feels he has on, and it's about giving you confidence.
Well, I'd love for you to show our viewers some of the buttons that you were sharing with me before we started doing this interview. So if you want to go ahead and flip your phone around and show us those buttons, I think that it would fascinate. And tell us a little bit about those.
Okay. What you're looking at now is what we call some of our special buttons. These are glass, and these are from the Czech Republic, and some of these are vintage glass, hand painted. They come in various sizes, but these are things that you will not get from when you buy something in the store. Unless you have something special made. This is what's something really special. And when you're paying, like I said, when you're paying for something real nice, they give you something real nice. This is just a little variety. I hope you can see it close enough. These are some of the nicer things also. These are real bone, for example. These are real bone here. And then we have Abalone Shale. This is coming from Mexico, mostly Australian abalone shells. This is a corrosal nut. Most people don't. Some people know about this, and I'm surprised how many people know this. This is this comes from, it's made from a tree, like a coconut tree, and it has a little picture of the tree there. And these are some of the buttons that are made from it. This is the actual nut before it's made.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and a lot of people, it looks like a plastic button once made, but it has a milky finish to it. But a lot of people know what it is, and that's what they prefer. You only see this on really high-end, nice jackets. Mm-hmm. If not, they were usually plastic buttons. Mm-hmm. So you see some of these also real coconuts, real shell. Then we get into real horn. These are usually used on purses, heavy jackets, but they're very unique, and believe me, they do not look like plastic. And then we have some more shell buttons from the Czech Republic, hand painted, really nice things. This is something that will not look like plastic.
Yeah, those are beautiful.
Yeah, and so this is pretty much it, and this is showing you even more natural glass buttons from the Czech Republic. And a lot of these are vintage buttons. These things can be over 20 and 30 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And can be more. And these are, because they're hard to find now, because most manufacturers from the Czech Republic are not, and a lot of stores are not getting these anymore, but they're hard to get. Yeah, but that's the ideal of what we carry.
So, Jerry, another button service that you offer is covered buttons. And we brought a group from our local chapter to your shop a few years ago, and you did a great little tour for us that included going back and seeing the actual process that you use to make these covered buttons. And you've given me a little video that I'd like to show our viewers right now. I just think that's such an interesting video and such an interesting process. I know I personally have used your covered button service, and I have to say the buttons came back so quickly and they just looked fabulous. As a matter of fact, this is the jacket that I put them on, and I just think it makes the jacket have such a finished, just kind of a polished look. So, can you talk just a little bit about the difference in your process versus the process we might use if we were trying to cover those buttons ourselves at home?
Right. Right now, we offer a covered buttons process. We offer it, actually, we offer it for the factories, the dress manufacturers, which is a completely different process than if you try to cover your button at home. When you try to cover your button at home, you usually get two parts, and one part slides into another part. The problem with that is that it slides in. What slides in can slide out again because it's because of pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure pulls it in, pressure would take it out. And so you end up with your buttons falling apart. What we do for the dress manufacturers, we have a machine. They have different parts. They have two different parts. And we have a clamping machine that clamps the shell to the back part of the button, the loop. And that when it clamps on with the fabric, and we usually also fuse the fabric before we do it, which would make a lot of times if you don't fuse your fabric before you cover your button, that there's not enough friction in the process to keep the button inside. So the more friction would keep the button stay together, it would hold it together. But like I said, we do go through this process. We make a lot of buttons for the dress, the bridal dresses, and it's more of a custom look. And especially for jackets, dresses, it's something that's more. It's like I said, it's more tailored looking, and
Right.
then you can't get no better match your fabric, your dress or fabric than the self fabric. You can't make it match any better than that. We also offer a dyeing process. You can, if you want it, a plastic button dyed to your fabric, we have a dye room that we have it custom dyed for you.
Oh.
This is something new that we added when we took over the store because you have to have a dye room to do this. So now we're offering it to the public. So if you want it dyed, we can custom dye it to your fabric.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Yes.
you offer so much variety and so much service. And every time I've ever gone into your store, which I'm sorry for those that don't live in the Dallas area and you don't get that personal touch, but the online stores also got such a huge variety of things to choose from. And your service has always been absolutely top notch. So I can definitely speak highly.
Yes, we do try to offer everything that we offer to the manufacturers, to people that are wanting something special, and that's what we're all about. We try to, please the customer, give them something they can't find nowhere else, and it's like I said, we specialize in it, so we know what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
Well, Jerry, I always like to bring these kind of segments to a close with asking if there's anything in the future on the horizon looming, something new or something different that you guys are looking at doing?
Yes, we're offering, before we only offered buttons on our website. Now we're also showing vintage ribbon, hard to find ribbon. A lot of our quality ribbon that we're now putting on our website, a lot of it's from France. It's really soft stuff, and especially the type of, like when Martha Stewart was talking about ribbon for bridal and making gifts. It's that type of ribbon. It folds very well. It doesn't stick up. It has a nice hang to it. This is when you know when you have good quality ribbon, how it hangs. And so we're putting quality from all types of ribbon, from grosgrain to satin, to embroidery, ribbon, anything you can imagine. We're showing. We're trying to get everything on our website that's a little different and a better variety. But that's our next step, because we only usually show buttons, but there's so much more that we have not been, showing. So the customer would get a larger variety.
That is fantastic, especially for those of the ASG members that are not located here and can't pop into the store. So we look forward to seeing more of that. And Jerry, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been a treat to see some of those buttons and hear about some of the background and sharing your love and knowledge of buttons. It's been a wonderful way to learn more, and it's been a wonderful way for us to celebrate National Button Day. So thank you also for your support of American Sewing Guild with that 15% discount.
Right.
I look forward to many more button adventures in my own personal sewing with using Benno's buttons in the years to come.
Well, to all your listeners and subscribers, happy National Button Day. And the better off to celebrate it, just buy a button and celebrate it with a nice button.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Jerry. And until next time.
Thank you. Thanks for you so much for inviting me.